Good afternoon, everyone. Sharice Jervis-Hill here, Events to Remember and PR to Remember. I always say I'm excited because I always am excited, but today I'm extra excited because this woman that you'll meet is she's something else in so many ways. I love her, and I'm so excited to bring her to the world via our Coffee with Cher podcast. Shirley Acevedo Buontempo, founder of Latino U College Access. Shirley, welcome to Coffee with Cher podcast.
Oh, this is great. Thank you, Cher. It's just so great to be with you. And thank you for this invitation to join you for un cafecito.
Oh, I love it. All right, so let's start with our cheers. We always start with a little
Okay.
cheers. So look at that
Cheers.
mug, dream. I love that. So fitting for Luca. You guys will hear about Luca in a little bit. So
Thank
cheers.
you.
All right. So this podcast is really focused on the entrepreneurial journey. And when people think of nonprofit organizations, they don't think of them as businesses. They think of them more so as a nonprofit organization, which they are, but it takes a founder, someone who starts it from the beginning, and they go through all of the growing pains that entrepreneurs go through. So that's why I thought it was fitting to kind of shine a light on the nonprofit side from a founder's perspective. So I'm so excited for this podcast today, Shirley. So tell me a little bit about Luca and, how it got started.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you so much for creating this platform where entrepreneurs can share their journeys and then also inviting me to speak on behalf of nonprofits and the nonprofit entrepreneurial spirit that occurs. Because while nonprofits provide an incredible social good and a social need, it is also a business.
Mhm.
And I think the most impactful and effective nonprofits are the ones that can balance both the way that they perceive themselves as a business, as well
Mhm.
as providing this amazing services um, that support social goods in our communities.
Mhm.
So, for myself, I am a proud Latina. I was born in Puerto Rico, and I never dreamt as a young college student that starting a nonprofit was where my journey would take me. And so, having an opportunity to tell you a little bit about this journey is an honor and a pleasure today. First of all, I
Mhm.
founded Latino U College Access in 2012. We are an nonprofit organization here in Westchester County that supports first generation to college Latino students on their pathway to and through college. We deliver a 6-year program
Mhm.
that informs, guides, and supports students through the complexity of college admissions, financial aid, staying in college, adapting to college, and then providing them with career readiness skills so that as they approach their last 2 years of college, they're ready to either enter internships, enter their first jobs, and begin to benefit from the transformational power of education. What drives me is a commitment to education, the need for educational equity, and a firm belief in the transformational power of education to change lives for generations. And I say this to you as a first gen Latina college grad herself, who
Mhm.
went from Puerto Rico to the Bronx to Pace University in Pleasantville,
Mhm.
and as a first gen uh, professional in my family to enter the corporate workforce. And so all of these elements, this of my life and my journey, these various roles and identities, they've instilled in me the mission and purpose in my life that I have made to continue to advocate for access and equity in education and for the Latino community here in Westchester County.
Amazing. I mean, when I think of, when I started my business, right? It's you create this business and you kind of feel like the services that you provide give to the world. with a founder of a nonprofit, I think of you as someone who created this business and then you give it to the world, and it's like your gift. You know what I mean? It's like I'm so inspired by that, Shirley. And Luca is just doing such incredible things. So literally kudos to you. So with so many nonprofits in Westchester, tell me a little bit about kind of what sets Luca apart from others.
Our organization, there are so many wonderful nonprofits that deliver great services in the community
Yeah.
across a variety of missions. Our organization is one of the few, at least in this area in Westchester County, whose primary mission and focus of services is on college access and success completion. And so, as an organization that's focused on higher education specifically and first-gen Latino students, we deliver culturally relevant bilingual programming to students and parents to help them prepare, plan, apply to college, and succeed in college. And the reason for that is because, I always say that where I am has been a lifelong journey. And before I began working in the nonprofit industry, I worked as a Hispanic marketing professional, and I worked for the advertising divisions of Gray Advertising and Saatchi, creating Spanish language promotional programs as well as advertising. And cultural relevance, bilingual media was so critical back then and so important, and still is, with the growing Latino population in the U.S. And I recognize that within this area of nonprofit work, the same elements of providing services in languages and speaking to families in a culturally relevant way, understanding that their understanding of higher ed in the US is very different from higher ed in their countries for the parents. And so really writing programming and speaking with parents and helping guide them along the process in that way, I think is what clearly separates us, not just from nonprofits, but also even within college access organizations. There are hundreds of college access organizations, if not thousands, throughout the nation, but not that many that are focused specifically on the Spanish language, bilingual, culturally relevant programming. So I know that we provide a very specific need, not only here in our community, but could even be scalable on a national level because of the growing Latino youth are the fastest growing demographic in both college and college age students, as well as elementary age students. And 70% of them are first gen to college. And so helping students go and move forward in this process is critical to the success and the future of the US and of our workforce. So I take great pride in that. I know that as a nonprofit professional, really trying to stay mission focused and staying focused on delivering and providing services that are going to support the mission is critically important. The difference between a nonprofit and a for-profit organization is that it is the board of directors that is the true leader and owner, quote, of the organization. And as a founder, I have always been very aware of the fact that what I was building was not mine to own. That what I was building was an organization that, if done right, should withstand and be able to thrive and grow even beyond me. It is the legacy that my family and I feel so blessed to have had an opportunity to contribute to and to do, but always knowing that just as you raise a child, you raise this organization to grow beyond you. And 2 years ago, as you know, I implemented a succession plan, and we hired a new executive director, and I serve on the board of directors at Luca. And it gives me great pride to see the organization continue to grow and thrive. And that's what's important about nonprofits, is they need to have that foundation to build the impact in the programming to prove that the work that you do is making a difference, and to then be sustainable without the founder.
Yeah. I mean, Shirley, you have to look back and just be amazed, just looking at Luca and looking at your scholars and, all of the lives that, that you and you and the board, of course, and you and your team, but literally just started by you, I'm sure, in a room with the notepad, you know what I mean? So
You got it. Yeah. I
it's
mean, I'll tell you, the first year, so in 2012, it was a pilot year, and we had 2 students. That's it.
wow.
Uh, Kevin Tejada and Andrea. And they were, one was coached by a dear friend of mine, and Kevin I personally coached. And I had an intern who was working with me part-time as she was applying to law school, and together we wrote our presentations in Spanish. We started writing our first college coach manual in like this little notebook.
Mm-hmm.
And it started with an idea in one high school that saw the potential of this idea, and that invited us to present at their school or at the local public library. As I said, so many things intertwined, because
Yeah.
after my business experience, I started working in nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to graduate school, and it was in graduate school that I began to do research on higher education and the Latino population. And I began to see the inequity that existed, the challenges that many first-gen students were faced. And it was this sense of inequity, this sense of unfairness
Mm-hmm.
that inspired me to say, this isn't fair. Someone has to do something. And
Mm-hmm.
knowing that there really wasn't a program like this in our community,
Yeah.
I set out with a wonderful supportive team to build these programs. Never in a million years imagining that it would turn into a nonprofit organization that has now 15 staff members. A new
Wow.
executive director, is in 8 school districts. We
Wow.
have assisted nearly 400 students to go off to college and delivered presentations to over 6,000 parents and students. And
Unbelievable.
so the journey is one that has evolved over time,
Mm-hmm.
primarily driven by purpose and mission and focus, and inspired by the incredible students and parents that I have met along the way, and that have come to Luca, and that have met our volunteers, and that have inspired all of us. And so that inspiration is what keeps us going.
Amazing. Amazing. So now, Shirley, Shirley, tell me, what are you up to? What's happening now? You've created this incredible nonprofit. It's doing really, really well. Now, what are you doing, Shirley?
Thank you. Well, as I said, I serve on the board, which allows me to have an opportunity to contribute to the strategic direction of the organization. But
Mm-hmm.
what I'm really passionate about, and it's exemplified in the work that I do at Luca, but I want to continue to do well into the rest of my life, is continue to serve as an advocate and to serve as a voice for the Latino community. And so I have been building partnerships and relationships with
Mm-hmm.
national advocacy organizations in the areas of college access and Latino representation and Latino advocacy initiatives,
Mm-hmm.
recognizing that there are ways to take this purpose and to have an impact at either policy levels, or to have an impact in a way that allows us to have a voice
Mm-hmm.
with decision makers, because there's great value and pride in doing the work one on one. But we know that if you want change, change needs to come from another area, from the
Yeah.
top.
Yeah.
And so my hope is to take this experience that I have
Mm-hmm.
gained and the knowledge that I have, and to bring it along into advocacy groups, and to serve our community by continuing to be a strong advocate, and rallying for the needs and the support of the community.
That's amazing. I can't wait to see what's next for you. I'm sure it's going to be something super exciting.
Thank you. Well, I always say life is a journey, and getting through here to Luca. It was a journey that was guided along, and I am excited to see what the next part of this journey brings, but also committed to continuing to making a difference, committed to continuing to support my own personal mission and purpose in life,
Mhm.
knowing that it takes a village, it takes all of us
Yeah.
working together to
Mhm.
speak up and to bring about change that is so much needed.
Yes, for sure. All right, so Shirley, last question, and this is my favorite question. I always ask, what advice would an entrepreneur give to a new entrepreneur, someone starting out? So in this case, Shirley, what advice would you give to someone who's considering starting a nonprofit organization? What advice would you give to them?
I think it, nonprofit founders are driven by a sense of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of knowing that they want to make a difference and that they want to care for others. And that's the primary motivating factor and the inspiration for all the now not the nonprofit founders whom I have met. However, like a business, you need a business plan. You need to prepare and you need to learn the business of nonprofit, but also learn best practices in terms of governance, in terms of the industry that you're serving. So preparation is key. I say I spent at least 2 years doing research and writing a business plan before I launched Luca.
Oh,
So
wow.
while Luca was founded in 2012, I've really started working on this back in 2009, 2010.
Mm,
And so having that preparation, even writing a strategic plan right away, early on, gave me great focus. And because nonprofits n- have to be able to raise the funding by speaking with others and donors, generous community members, generous foundations who want to support your mission. And
mhm.
so the better prepared you are in representing why the work that you're doing is impactful, how you're going to do it in a professional manner, the more successful you will be in bringing others along as funders, as donors, to make this possible, to make this dream possible. Um, Building a great team.
Mhm.
Surround yourself with others who share in your passion and can help you execute your vision. Again, I count my blessings of all of the wonderful people that have stepped up and stepped in to the foundation of Luca.
Mhm.
Individuals who, when we had not a dime, provided pro bono support,
Mhm.
when, provided us a space to host an event,
Yeah.
um, elevated our mission by giving us a voice and a platform. And so being able to surround yourself and bring others on board who, especially in those early
Early
years when
years.
you are, you know, when you're working with zero budget and trying to just uh, deliver programs, but also generate awareness,
Mhm.
very important to bring the right people in, both on your board, volunteers, your staff, building partnerships with other organizations that can help support the work that you're doing. Those are critical.
That's such great advice. That really is. That preparation is key.
Yeah,
Building a nonprofit, building a business in life, right?
you
So
know that. Yes.
yes. So thank you for sharing that. And then Shirley, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I'm very active on LinkedIn. You can message me on my LinkedIn. It's in my name, Shirley Acevedo Buontempo. And I am eager and happy to speak with any nonprofit founder or anyone who wants to learn more about the mission of increasing educational equity and opportunity, advocating for the Latino community in the US or in Westchester County, where we live.
Mhm.
So please feel free to contact me at any time.
Thank you, Shirley. You are such a rock star.
Thank
This is
you.
great. Thank you for
You
being
are,
here.
Cherise. Thank you. Thank you for your support. I count you as the part of our village and part of the team that has helped build Luca throughout these years.
Oh, it makes us so proud. Luca is the best. So thank you, Shirley,
Thank
for being
you.
here.
Thanks, huh? Thanks for this invite.